Welcome to Comms Business Live. My name is David Dungay, editor and publisher of Comms Business magazine. Today with me I have Mr. Adam Zoldan, director of Knight Corporate Finance, and Karen Houghton from Mason Hayes. Welcome to the show, guys. How are we doing?
Hi, afternoon. Good, thank you.
Good, thanks, Dave.
Excellent. So we have a little bit of a different perspective on the conversation today. We've got Karen here, legal expert in the fray. Karen, let's do some introductions. Karen, let's start with you. Let's tell us about yourself and your part to play in all this.
Yeah, sure. So I'm a corporate lawyer. I did my trade a couple of big practices in Manchester and then spent 8.5 years in industry at TalkTalk as a legal director for the B2B business in the Northwest and the networks business. And then basically 7 years ago decided that I just wanted to get back advising entrepreneurs and working with people in the sector, and just basically doing a different kind of work really. And obviously I'd been working with Paul and Adam at my time at TalkTalk, and then basically just built up a business, as I say, doing M&A deals.
Excellent. And Adam, give us the rundown. I'm sure people have probably know who Knight Corporate Finance are by now, but tell us who you are quickly.
Yeah, Knight Corporate Finance, we're advisory. We specialise in our sector, and we advise companies, entrepreneurs and shareholders on strategy, raising money, acquisitions, and we're probably best known for exits.
Sure.
Yeah, we work with a variety of lawyers on every single deal, and some of the experiences are good, some of the experiences are different. Some for some reason lawyers don't always get a good rap, and I thought it would be great if we could introduce Karen, who's got really a good list of credentials on successful M&A deals, and just sort of quiz her on what are the rights and wrongs to do on the legal M&A side.
Well, let's start that off then. Let's start quizzing Karen. Are you ready, Karen, for this?
Yeah, go for it.
Quizzing is about to start. Okay. Well, let's to our listeners or viewers, I should say, what can they expect from their relationship with a lawyer during a transaction? What should that look like?
Yeah. Well, I think firstly, what I always say to people is, obviously there's many lawyers out there for people to choose from. It can be pretty overwhelming. There's obviously different sizes of firms. Obviously you're going to be working with that client and that advisor for quite a while. So ultimately, you need to feel that that person's got your back. You can talk to them. I think obviously their expertise should, be without question, but it's what they're going to bring to you that's going to be different to any other advisor. And the reason at Mason Hayes we feel that we're different is, we have the sector knowledge and we've got that expertise, but we actually try and offer a different service to clients. We really, spend a lot of time getting to know the client, trying to get to know their business, and identify pitfalls and try and help prepare them for sale. Because, for us, the earlier that we're engaged, the better. And I think, a lot of clients always think about obviously engaging corporate finance and tax and getting all that sorted out. And sometimes they actually don't necessarily either think or feel that there's value in engaging a lawyer too early if they're thinking about selling. And my experience is, really that there is value to be added as long as you do get the right advisors that are genuinely looking to help create that value, maintain that value, and make sure that they're identifying things that along the way during the transaction don't become a problem to hitting the timetable or landing that number that's so important to the client if they're exiting. So, for me, it's about having trust in your advisor and making sure that they are, acting in your best interests and they don't make the deal about themselves. It's all about the client.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of things I wanted to pick out there. Obviously, your sector experience, TalkTalk. How big a part does that play in your deals?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I think it's been massive. I kind of probably underestimated how important it was when I actually first sort of joined Mason Hayes 7 years ago. It can be a bit of a language in itself, telecoms, and I think the more you actually understand it, the more value you can add. Because I think lawyers, they need to kind of really get to grips with the issues and, you know what they're talking about. And when they're talking about the numbers and the revenue and the EBITDA and the growth of the business and the different types of products, massively helps when you've actually been at the coal face in organisations where there's buying and selling of those products, and you actually know the players in the market. So actually for me it has been valuable, and I've actually realised that as I've gone along, it's so important that people realise that, you know, you understand the business, you know, you're not so detached that, you know, you're treating it as any other sector. It has got its nuances. And I think, you know, having that understanding also helps the client think again that you kind of get it, and you're kind of a normal person that's just an extension of their team really, and you're not coming in, you know, kind of completely blinkered to what actually is going on. So for me, it's been a huge advantage.
Okay. The other thing was, you know, you said it was best to engage early on with, you know, your legal advisor during the. I mean, how early is early on to you?
Well, I always say it's never too early. So, I mean, sometimes obviously Knights are engaged, you know, a couple of years in advance. But, you know, generally speaking, if they're sort of, for example, key customers and key suppliers, that they will usually still be key suppliers at the time they maybe want to sell, even if that's, as I say, a couple of years in advance. So starting to look at things like change of control clauses, starting to look at the share history and the records. Are there any things like EMI schemes, any kind of issues that may crop up that will, you know, invariably impact the timetable? Because the last thing the client wants to hear is that, you know, something's going to stop that deal from happening that could possibly have been prevented. So, you know, I always think, you know, like I say, just give us a ring, get us engaged. If we think it is too early, we'll say, but then, you know, we can almost do a kind of pre-sale due diligence and get the house in order, and then it helps maintain that value that the corporate finance guys have worked so hard to get that price from the interested party to buy the business. And I see it as my job to make sure that that's maintained, because the client's happy, corporate finance are happy, and we kind of work really collaboratively.
Yeah, Adam, I'd be really interested in your perspective on that, in terms of, you know, making sure there are no sort of pitfalls or, you know, kinks in the road, if you like, in a transaction. I mean, how often are you seeing these things because, you know, perhaps someone didn't engage someone early enough, or do the right things?
There's always something. I mean, we do it ourselves as well. You know, particularly on the financial and commercial side. You know, to get a deal into, you know, exclusivity or heads of agreement with the buyer takes an awful lot of energy, and at that, you know, during that due diligence process, the last thing you want is just something unexpected or that you weren't aware of coming up. So, you know, we try and do work up front on the financials, make sure they're consistent, make sure what we've told the buyer during the process is the same as what they're seeing during due diligence. We you know, look at the commercial impact, see if there's, you know, any particularly large customers, see if there's any particular exposure to suppliers or any other aspects. And you know, to do the same on the legal side is you know, makes entire sense. What the buyer wants to see is consistency, and that builds confidence, and the deal gets done. If you spook a buyer, it's the biggest reason that a deal will fall over.
I agree, and I think being in control as a seller is so important, because I think when the buyer sees that you're organised and you're on it and you've anticipated the issues, you know, it like I say, it just maintains confidence. And actually, as a seller, you want to feel that you are driving it as best you can, and that the buyer's suddenly not all over you, telling you things about your business. You know, because it is an emotional journey a lot of the time for these, you know, founder entrepreneurs that are exiting, and the last thing they want is, as Adam said, to be spooked by something. And, you know, them feel that the deal's potentially at risk, or they're going to price check, or they're going to start asking, you know, the seller to cover that off in some kind of extra warranty or indemnity cover, and then they get nervous about that. So, you know, it really is so important just to try and make the seller feel at ease by having, as I say, done that sort of pre-sale work.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so you mentioned some of the pitfalls there to avoid. I mean, are there any other pitfalls these entrepreneurs that are watching now should really think about when it comes to engaging a lawyer, what they should be looking for, and that sort of process?
Well, I think obviously the first thing for them is making sure that they're going to get the price that they want for their business, and making sure that's going to get them where they want to be in their journey, whether that's to sort of stay on and how that deal's structured. And then obviously, you know, they can probably look to their corporate finance teams for if they've got anyone to recommend. You know, certainly for me, you know, it'd be looking for anyone that's got a particular sector specialist that, you know, also is going to be there to sort of take them through the deal and not just sort of, you know, wheel somebody out at the tender process and then they never see them. It's just, you know, it's really important, as I say, that they establish that relationship with their lead advisor on the legals, you know, trust in them. And yes, maybe there's a team behind them, but ultimately, you know, make sure that the person that you instruct is going to lead you through the process and is going to, as I say, work collaboratively with all your advisors. Not make the deal about them, you know, and you've just got to be comfortable that you can ring them on a Saturday late at night. You know, they're going to have times where they're just not sure and they're nervous and they're having second thoughts, and then, you know, you kind of also have to counsel these people. You know, they usually exit once and once only. I mean, some do go again once they've been out of their covenants for a while, but, you know, we want to make the experience really great for these people. And actually, you know, selecting your lawyer is just as important as getting your corporate finance and tax people on side. So yeah, just do your homework really, and chat to people, you know, on the phone, interview them, and just see who you're comfortable with and who's going to have you back. And hopefully that'll be me.
Generally, we find quite a lot of our clients have worked with a particular lawyer, sort of running their business on the sort of commercial side, sort of through you know, the company history. But I'd say the number one thing is they've got to have an M&A track record. So we can't have, you know, we've just got to have that experience on deal, knowing sort of which bits are important, which bits can be ignored, and fight the right fights. That's, you know, certainly from a corporate finance perspective, that could be our biggest frustration, where there is a long relationship in place, but there isn't the level of expertise.
Adam, I'd be interested, is as a lawyer in the same bracket as you know, a quality tailor? Once you find a good one, you like don't ever let them go?
Yeah, maybe a dentist. I mean, I'd say, I mean, you know, we've worked with Karen on plenty of deals, and, you know, I'd always happily provide a recommendation. But it's, you know, there are, you know, I'd go to, you know, make sure you get 2 or 3 good quotes, or recommendations, and yeah, there's a good array of expertise out there.
Excellent. Okay, well, I think that we're coming towards the end of the stream now. You know, Karen, Adam, is there anything you want to leave our listeners, viewers with today? You know, just to leave them in their heads as they go on, and you know, there could be potentially quite a lot of M&A activity happening over the next 12 months. You know, what would you like to leave our viewers with, Karen?
Well, I have to say that, you know, actually for us as a business, we've had a phenomenal 12 months of M&A activity in the sector, and it should give real confidence to people out there that, you know, private equity houses and lenders are very much, you know, looking at the sector as being one that they look at with confidence. I think the COVID pandemic, with all the home working, has proven that, you know, this is a commodity that isn't going away. You know, it's a good time to maybe look at your business model and your plans, and talk to the guys in the corporate finance team about maybe, you know, where you want to go with this. It may have changed your view on, you know, the direction you want to go, and whether you want to exit early or you want to do an acquisition strategy. I think, you know, everyone should take great heart with, you know, the situation, and hope that, you know, the sector actually, you know, has a really another strong 12 months despite everything that's gone on.
Yeah, we almost did a whole stream there without mentioning COVID.
So
anyway,
we just completed our 4th and 5th deals during the lockdown last week, which hopefully will be announced shortly. So yeah, I definitely concur with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've dealt with a variety of lawyers. They've all worked hard, and I can confirm that they're not all bad. It's just the 99% giving the rest a bad name. It's probably
Of which she needs to then qualify that I fall in the 1%, right?
correct.
I always forget that bit.
Right, okay. That's a nice place to leave it. But I'd like to say thank you so much to Karen and Adam for joining me today. Really great insight into that process there from a lawyer's perspective. So thank you very much.
Thanks for your time, David.
Cheers. Thank you, Noel.
And thank you for watching. You've been watching Comms Business Live with me, David Dungay.